In the Mountain West tonight, a rather large matchup. Boise State, winners of 13 in a row, a school record, and the Colorado State Rams, who are having a terrific season, 11-3 and 8-2. Lineups for this one: great guards, Shaver and Dennis for Boise State, Moore and Stevens for Colorado State. And keep your eyes on Derek Alston Jr. of Boise State and David Roddy of Colorado State. History, yes, plenty between these two teams, and lately it's lopsided with Boise State winning 7 of the last 8. Hi everybody, Rich Waltz along with Dan Dickow. Hope you have great bandwidth. We've got a great game. Pace and tempo of this game, Mr. Dickow, what do you expect?
Well, both teams do like to play up and down, but I think the thing you're going to see the most is both are great on the offensive end, shooting the ball and taking care of the ball with great guard play.
First possession, Boise State. Abu Kijab, along with Shaver and Ray J. Dennis, the main ball handlers. And of course, Derek Alston, versatile as well. This is Kijab weaving his way in. Skip pass, and Dennis, a 3. Boise State, a really good rebounding team. And Colorado State certainly has that at the top of their grease board tonight. Now the Rams have 2 significant road wins in the Mountain West. Takedowns of San Diego State and Utah State, which has propelled them to near the top of the Mountain West. This is Roddy. That's a moving screen on James Moore's. Leon Rice, 11 years at Boise State, and he is 2 away from being the winningest coach in Boise State history.
Done a tremendous job transforming that program. 2 NCAA tournaments in that time, but 8 times 20 wins or more. He has really made Boise State a power in the WCC.
Armish, good movement. Alston swings it. Dennis driving. Shaver, a deep 3. Got it.
Big time 3, but the Mountain West, he came from the WCC where he was an assistant coach with Gonzaga.
That's all right. It's just a stream, Dan.
Caught myself early.
3-0. Boise State on top. This is Roddy backing in. So strong and so skilled. Colorado State is a terrific shooting team from distance, from in tight, from the free throw line. And that's something that Boise State really is trying to guard against tonight. Clean looks. Roddy, that's not a clean look. Falling away. And the Broncos have the ball, and up the floor they go.
So quickly does Boise State get down the floor. They really put a ton of pressure on the defense to get back and matched up.
Marcus Shaver fouled, and he's going to get to the line and shoot 2. Nico Medved has led this renaissance of basketball at Colorado State in his 3rd year. Last year, 20 wins, 11-7 in conference. And this year, another year better, and you can see it in the standings. 8-2 right now in conference. And the first free throw is good.
Has done a really nice job of taking over the program and identifying and evaluating prospects in the recruiting process. Their squad is young and talented, led by point guard Isaiah Stevens and David Roddy, who are both only sophomores.
So a 5-0 start for Boise State. And a pick and a roll and a layup for Moores. That was nice, and that was Isaiah Stevens on the dish.
Great guard-to-guard into a pick-and-roll action. And because they've got so many shooters, Boise State has to stay home, which allows Moore so much space on the roll.
Of course, Nico Carvacho for many years was the big man for Colorado State. This is more of a outside-in game for the Rams. That's a gorgeous find, and that's Alston doing what he does best, cutting to the bucket and finishing.
Well, because Alston's such a good scorer, you try to deny and push the catches out. Alston recognizes the denial. Anytime that happens, back cut, nice delivery from Armush. Catch and finish for Alston.
Armush with the reach, and he pokes it loose from Roddy. Key jab. Roddy has the rebound. Colorado State very good in transition. Stevens gets to the rim and gets it in.
The balance and pushing in transition up the floor creates a little bit of contact and then glides away from it.
Our Jerry Palm has both of these teams in the NCAA tournament. Obviously a long way to go from here, but a sign of respect for the conference and for these two teams. Key jab.
Conference is underrated this year. They have shown improvement. Utah State, San Diego State, really good as well.
Ray J. Dennis on the miss. You could hear the shot clock expire with the ball up near the cylinder. 7-4, Boise State on top. Roddy is averaging 15 a game and a few rebounds shy of a double-double. He can shoot the three, and he buries that one to tie the game at 7.
Such a versatile four-man for Niko Medved. He's great in pick-and-roll actions where he can dive or space. He can post it, and then he's got such soft touch. You have to respect him out past the three-point line.
I'm not sure if that was a shot or a pass, but Alston's attempt was wiped out, and that's Kendall Moore, who picked up the loose ball and goes length of the floor, and the Rams have the lead. And look at the run now, a 7-0 run over a minute and a half. Shaver averaged a dozen a game at Portland. Armish with another find in tight, and this time I think it was Moores that got a hand on that shot. Roddy out in front. That's the transition game for Colorado State, and that is a timeout for Boise State.
Because Colorado State has two really good push it in transition guards, and Stevens, who we've talked about already, as well as Kendall Moore, you have to get back quicker than normal against this Colorado State team. You've got to stop the ball, you've got to get matched up, and you got to protect the rim. David Roddy gets past the line of defense. The nice find from Kendall Moore.
Roddy was terrific in the win against Utah State at Utah State. 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. He's a 6'5", Charles Barkley type, 250, with great hands and great feet. An outstanding high school quarterback in Minnesota.
And Leon Rice told us when we talked to him on the phone earlier today, David Roddy's one of those guys that can just do so many things that you're worried about him, and one of the things that you're also worried about is his competitiveness. He does all the little things that it takes to win, and because he's such a great athlete, Leon said, I wouldn't be surprised if you look up in 7 or 8 years and see him as an NFL tight end. He's that type of athlete.
I believe he wishes that he would be an NFL tight end next year instead of a junior with an extra year in his pocket. I mean, some of these guys, especially for Colorado State, Roddy and Stevens, the 2 sophomores, and Deshaun Thomas, you could be seeing them for 3 more years in the Mountain West, and that certainly bodes well for a young Colorado State team.
That's going to be the case for a lot of programs that have very talented players, but maybe they're not necessarily at the top of NBA prospect lists. That you're going to see a lot of guys that carve out long, prosperous college careers where they put some really good experience on rosters in the Mountain West, maybe the WCC, the Atlantic 10, where all of a sudden you've got some programs that are challenging Power 5 type conference teams.
Boise State was off to a quick start. Colorado State on a nice run. 5 minutes in the Mountain West. Roddy will sit. Niko Medved has a 4-man bench that he uses. You'll see a lot of Deshaun Thomas, John Tonje, P.J. Bird, and Isaiah Rivera. And Boise State is deep. And when you can bring Devonair Dutrieve, Emmanuel Acott, and Max Rice off the bench, that's a really nice thing. Rice is in right now. And a foul. Dutrieve is in, and he drew the foul. Eric Curry, our trio of Mountain West officials, with the call. John Higgins and Nate Harris, along with Eric Curry, the officials tonight. All right, welcome to the Mountain West. Welcome to a huge game. Boise State and Colorado State. Rich Waltz along with Dan Dickow underway, and Colorado State an 11-7 lead. For Boise State, a school record 13 straight wins, but this is their first big test in the Mountain West. And a turnover, and the Broncos, Devonair Dutrieve, length of the floor for the bucket. Colorado State already has significant wins in this conference, road wins in this conference against San Diego State and Utah State. And you can see the early shooting. Colorado State 5 of 6. Boise State has not shot it well, but down just 2. And Dutrieve goes right back at the rim, and it's out of bounds. It'll be a Colorado State basketball. Rich Waltz along with Dan Dickow. And Dan, it's a real test for Boise State because Colorado State already has faced a couple of the big teams. And for Leon Rice, they're 9-0. They're really talented. So it'll be interesting to see how they play tonight.
Yeah, you're right. They are talented. Their season opening loss was to Houston, a really good team now ranked in the top 10. Since then, the 13 in a row that you mentioned, Leon really likes the pieces and how they've come together. A number of transfers. Abu Kijab from Oregon, Dutrieve and Acott from Arizona, Armouche from East Tennessee State, Shaver from University of Portland. A really nice job of blending new talent with guys that have already been in Boise.
This is a very versatile offense. Leon Rice's offenses always are almost positionless. Guys that could come out and run the point and then go down to the low blocks and get you double digits. Deshaun Thomas with that foul.
5 guys for Boise State, as you mentioned, average more than 2 assists per game. Dennis, your traditional point guard, if you want to really go by positions, averages a little over 3 per game, but you're right. Guys that can make plays and can make shots and are versatile are valued in Leon Rice's system.
That's a corner 3, and that is good. That is Isaiah Rivera, who is a 42% three-point shooter. It's Colorado State and Boise State have a lot of reserves in right now after that first media timeout. This is Max Rice. He is the coach's kid, and he's a terrific player in his own right.
He's become a really good shooter. Had a 4-game stretch earlier this season where he really shot it well, over 60% from 3 in that 4-game stretch.
Kijab throws it away. This is John Tonje, who hit the game winner, the 4-point play against San Diego State, and he drives and scores. And the biggest lead of the night for either team, and a great 14-2 run. Colorado State by 7. Marcus Shaver, the transfer from Portland, and he misses. A lot of speed in the backcourt for Colorado State. Bird, Rivera finds Deshaun Thomas, and a charge by Rivera after the pass. Here's what makes this game so important in the Mountain West. Boise State at 9-0 and 13-1. Utah State, but remember the 2 wins that Colorado State have, significant road wins against the team above them, Utah State, and the team below them, San Diego State.
I'm sure we'll talk more about the win at San Diego State. Impressive in the fact that they were down 26 early in that game. They just kept chipping away at it, ended up coming away with a victory. Biggest deficit overcome this year in college basketball.
And the biggest comeback ever in the Mountain West. That's Kijab with the bucket. And Colorado State's lead is cut to 5. Isaiah Stevens with the ball. Many say the best guard right now in the Mountain West. Rivera stripped to the ball. Shaver, good three-point shooter. Both these teams are excellent shooting teams. 47% from the field for both. And Colorado State from 3 is almost at 40%, which in college basketball is great. Dutrieve, the dish, and the flush.
That's the second time that Boise State has been able to score on a backdoor cut. Obviously, they saw something in the scouting report that they felt that Colorado State was going to get out and deny. If that's the case, you've got to be able to ready to make that read, back cut, and deliver it.
Speaking of deliveries, Stevens to Thomas.
One of the things I like so much about Stevens is he can score it, he can make plays for others, but you just don't speed him up. He plays at his own pace. He sees what the defense is trying to do. He makes the correct read.
Key jab. That's an offensive foul. Rivera draws the foul. It's a huge night in the Mountain West for Boise State and Colorado State. For those of you watching on CBSSports.com, our streaming coverage will conclude after the commercial break, but will continue on CBS Sports Network. College basketball on CBS Sports Network, presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky in Fort Collins in the Mountain West. And a quick start by Colorado State. Rich Waltz along with Dan Dickow. Our Jerry Palm has 4 teams from the Mountain West right now in the NCAA tournament, including these 2. And Dan, for Colorado State, they've got some big wins. For Boise State, they have the great record, and this is their test, their first one.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say this is by far their most difficult game in conference, and especially being on the road, they must be up to the challenge, and they were early. They got off to a nice start, and then Colorado made their last 8 shots from the field. But I look for this to be an up-and-down game with 2 very talented offensive teams.
So Leon Rice and Boise State, their biggest win so far, the road win against BYU. And number 6, Houston, they opened there, lost by 10. But Houston's been in the top 10 for a while now, and that's a push and a foul on Boise State. You see the rebounding advantage. If that stays that way, Dan, that's a huge win for Colorado State.
Yeah, they would be hard-pressed to keep that up because Boise State is so good on the glass, almost plus 12 per game is Boise State on the year. Coach Medved told us today we have to do a great job on the glass, and we have to do that. Get David Roddy heading to the rim in pick and roll and dive situations there. A nice catch and finish.
Of course, Leon Rice told us David Roddy is a headache, and you can see why. So strong, so skilled. Roddy averaging close to a double-double, 15 a game, 9 rebounds a game. Thistlewood the rebound. Colorado State likes to get out and run, and Shaver on the other end of the floor still down and is now up.
Don't know how that wasn't a foul. Shaver got by the defense, looked as if he got pushed or bumped from behind. Leon Rice not happy with the officials there.
Max Rice misses a 3. Thomas with the ball. He's a 3-point shooting threat, even though he's one of the bigs for Colorado State, and he'll bring Armish away from the bucket. Roddy's 3 is way off. Mladen Armish with the rebound, and let's see if Boise State can stir this up a little bit. It's speed against speed in the backcourt. Shaver and Dennis are quick for Boise State. Moore and Stevens as well for Colorado State. This is Stevens. Bird on the break. A pick for Roddy. At 250, even Armish has trouble keeping him in front. Stevens 3. Thistlewood with the rebound, and it's stolen from him. Good hands there by Devonaire Dutrieve, who gets in and finishes, and the lead is cut to 7.
Awkward looking finish. Good job defensively getting back. Dutrieve keeps his balance. A nice finish, but that's not going to show up on any how-to videos.
Colorado State in a position that they're not used to being, and that's ahead against a great opponent. They were behind in both their big wins at San Diego State and at Utah State last week.
Coach Medved teaches and preaches to his guys when they're behind. We can't get this all back in one possession. Let's win the next 4 minutes. You have to keep with the process, with the philosophy. We get another look at this finish. 1, 2. Oh, looked like that foot may have come down. Could have been a travel. Maybe we get a chance to take another look at that, but that was a unique finish, to say the least.
That was a Euro step plus.
Yes. He may have been watching a little bit of NBA action. James Harden has made that side step, that step back, a staple of the game at all levels. The game and the footwork is called differently, NBA to college to high school.
Boise State has so many different weapons. Let's see who the first is to really heat up. Key jab short on that three, and the Broncos, a miserable start. This is very similar to one of their games against Fresno State, where they shot below 20% in the first half. They won that game. Thistlewood, you can't leave him alone. He's a great three-point shooter, and the lead has ballooned to 10, and Boise State is already going to take their second timeout.
Well, if there's one guy on the perimeter that you have to find at the three-point line and worry about only him shooting, that's Thistlewood, a knockdown shooter. Rams stretching the lead to 10.
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. What's your beef? By Jeep. There's only one. And by AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
David Roddy in Colorado State facing Boise State, who has won a school record 13 straight. And both coaches X's and O's in the break. And Dickow, your keys to the game.
Boise State must defend the three. Haven't done that yet. Colorado State 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. Dominate with points in the paint. Colorado State has that advantage early, and for the Rams, own the glass because Boise State is great. They've done a nice job there so far, but they haven't limited their turnovers. They haven't been hurt yet by it, but they must take care of the ball because Boise State is very good in transition.
A technical foul during the break, and from the reaction of Leon Rice, he's still giving an earful there to John Higgins. And we'll get confirmation of it, but we believe it's on Leon Rice. So 2 points for Colorado State. They make the free throws. This is a rather large hole right now that Boise State finds themselves in, 27-15.
With the pace with which they play, 12-point deficit is not that much, but I would imagine that technical foul would have come from frustration when Shaver looked to have gotten fouled, pushed from behind. Leon was visibly upset.
The ball's going to stay with Boise State. Shot clock is at 13. Now, Boise State and Leon Rice had a miserable half against Fresno State, but they turned it around, and they closed on a 30-5 run to win that game by more than 20 points. So they have the ability to put it in gear and really go. But they got to hit some threes, you would think. Acott misses badly. And the Broncos are now 1 of 7 from beyond the arc.
A disjointed possession there. I think when the ball was knocked away early in that possession, none of the Broncos realized the shot clock did not reset. As a point guard, Ray J. Dennis, you've got to take control of the possession and make sure everyone knows on an inbounds where the shot clock is at.
This is a tough guard. Roddy, a skip pass. Kendall Moore, 3, and he missed it. Acott the rebound for the Broncos.
This is how Boise State's so difficult to prepare for. All 5 players on the floor right now, if they get the rebound, they've got the ability to push on their own in transition off the dribble.
Held ball, Colorado State arrow, but that's a turnover and a terrific defensive sequence. James Moores is kind of the unsung hero of this Colorado State team. He has played real quality minutes, especially in the road wins at San Diego State and Utah State.
Yeah, redshirted a season ago from Auckland, New Zealand. Coach Medved said he is consistently getting better defensively as Stevens gets a nice little floater in the lane to drop. Moores just continues to get better defensively. On the offensive end, he's got a nice feel for the game. He can score it as a face-up big, and his low post game is improving.
Roddy goes down hard, no whistle, and a flop warning. Boy, David Roddy is not the guy you would associate a flop warning too. Here's a look at it. I don't know. I mean that's Acott is 6'8", 210 and had a full head of steam.
That's one of those. I get what the official saw or what he thinks he sees, but there's too many basketball plays to call a warning on a flop there. He's sliding, trying to stay in front. He did take contact, maybe sold a little bit, but that's a hard one to take.
That's a rare turnover from Stevens, a carry. And you see the turnovers, 8 of them already for Colorado State, but they've got a 12-point lead as we're under 6 minutes left in a fast-paced first half.
Too many turnovers for Colorado State, but they're not necessarily live ball turnovers leading to transition opportunities.
There's a
Shaver
three.
Gets it to drop.
Yeah, Marcus Shaver, 44% from distance this year. And Shaver can heat up. He averaged 14 a game in his 2 years at Portland. And so the lead is down to 9.
At Portland, he was asked to do so many different things, where here at Boise State, he can focus on what he does best, finding open opportunities and be aggressive to score.
That guy can shoot as well. Kendall Moore is 43%, and his 3 stretches the lead back to a dozen. Key jab spinning. Drops it off. Alston, and it's blocked, but a foul. And Derek Alston Jr. will go to the line.
Interesting from Colorado State, and they showed this a little bit against Utah State and Cada, doubling from big to big on the low side, on the baseline side. They've done that now a number of times. Moores gets back in rotation after leaving the double, but fouls Alston, put him at the line for 2.
And the foul on Moores is his second. Kendall Moore also has 2 for Colorado State. Boise State only has 2 team fouls, and we're under 5 minutes left in the first half. Alston is one of the best player development stories in all of college basketball. A walk-on, 148 pounds, had to redshirt, scored just 7 points total his freshman year, and here he is, a Player of the Year candidate for the Broncos. Tanjay breaks the press. Thomas in the low blocks. Thomas can shoot the 3 himself, and he brings Armas a long way away from the basket. So a back cut and a bucket. That worked quite well against Utah State. He was able, Thomas was, to bring Cada away from the basket, and he did it with Armas there.
Well, because of Kendall Moore's quickness, if you're going to deny, you can't get overextended. Yeah, you got to get that hand in the passing lane, but you can't give him a free head start to the rim.
Tanjay in transition. Stevens turned down the 3. This is Thomas's 3, and it's too strong, and Armas has the rebound. And a 3, and that's Alston. A 38% three-point shooter, and that's a needed bucket for Boise State. The lead is down to 10.
You mentioned the player development from Alston. That's something that, as a freshman, he didn't have the range out to 3. He flirted with the NBA draft a year ago, came back, and rightfully so, wanting to become the next Bronco to be drafted in the NBA.
Tanjay's putback is blocked. And Shaver up the floor. Boise State great at player development. You look at Chandler Hutchinson. He's now with the Bulls. You look at Justinian Jessup, a draft pick of the Warriors last year. Both those guys really developed in this program. Dennis kicks. Alston misses. And with 3 minutes left in this first half, Colorado State in this big Mountain West battle has a 10-point lead. Moore playing with 2 fouls. Thomas mid-range, and he misses the jumper. Key jab. Broncos really haven't been able to run off a missed bucket. That's a block.
Colorado State tremendous three-point shooting team. Plenty of guys that you've got to be aware of. Kendall Moore being one of them.
You're watching
Rams.
college basketball, presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Friday night, 8 Eastern. This is a top 10 matchup. And of course, when you hear this music, you know it's college hockey. Number 2, North Dakota, the Fighting Hawks. Number 9, Omaha. Right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Dan Dickow, this is a great shooting team, Colorado State.
It is. Number 1 in the Mountain West in three-pointers made on the season. Number 2 in three-point percentage. So when you are preparing, you've got to locate shooters and understand who's a shooter, who's not when you close out. As of now, 4 Rams with a knockdown 3 here in the first half. Boise State must do a better job of locating three-point shooters and running them off the line. Easier said than done, though.
And it's rare that you find a team that shoots the 3 great and defends the 3 well. And Colorado State is that. This is Armish. And the Serb hits a free throw. Mladen Armish turned down a pro contract with the ABA. And now it's not the ABA you've heard of. It's the Adriatic Basketball Association. Was convinced to go play at an academy in the United States in Little Rock. Ended up at East Tennessee State and has transferred into Boise State. And he
found himself a nice home. Averages 3 offensive rebounds, provides toughness for the Broncos on the interior.
Stevens a miss. Lead is single digits. Shaver driving, turned away. Stevens, Thistlewood on the wing. At the 2-minute mark. Hot start, and lately they have cooled. Thomas trying to spin. That was a mismatch against Max Rice and a foul on Rice. Coming up, AT&T 5G at the half. And look who's in the studio. Adam Zucker, Wally Zerbiak, Ryan Hollins, and Seth Davis. To get you caught up on all the scores, highlights, and all the latest news in college basketball. It's all coming up on AT&T 5G at the half. Rich Waltz, Dan Dickow in the Mountain West for Boise State, who's unbeaten in conference and has won a school record 13 straight. And Colorado State, who is enjoying a renaissance of basketball in Fort Collins. Roddy, strong like bull, and rips it away and puts it in.
You have got to keep him off the glass. You mentioned a Charles Barkley reference early. I see a lot of that. He is relentless. He is not turned away. When he puts his mind to it, he is terrific on the interior.
Dutrieve, Armish is open, and he's fouled by Roddy.
Good job there by Armush of relocating on the interior. You go from kind of short corner dunker spot. When you're big, who's guarding you goes to help, find an open area. That time he worked along the baseline, presented himself to Dutrieve, gets himself to the free throw line for 2.
Armish looks like your prototypical banger down low, but when he arrived at East Tennessee State, he was a face to the basket European type player. His nickname at Boise quickly became the Beast because he was part of a great scout team last year. The scout team for Boise State last year, I believe, was a top 75 net team.
It very well could have been.
I mean, you had Shaver, Dutrieve, Acott, Armish. Kejab was there for part of the season. Every now and then Max Rice would go over. That's a great scout team, redshirting last year. Thomas, good block by Ray J. Dennis.
Great job helping down, getting his hands active, poking it free. Those are the little things that Leon Rice talked about with Ray J. Dennis, just his understanding IQ of the game.
Shot altered by Thomas. Roddy in transition. Big step, big finish. He is so skilled.
Big fella with the footwork, the balance, almost like a ballerina there to avoid contact with the soft touch.
Final half minute, first half. Dutrieve, Roddy with the rebound, and a chance for the last shot.
Boise State's got a couple fouls to give if they want to use it. Don't always see it in the college game, but you do in the NBA.
Stevens driving, got a man in the air, and a finish. Isaiah Stevens, the best guard going in the Mountain West right now. And Colorado State comes out and smacks Boise State in the nose. A 15-point first half for the Rams. And a 13-game win streak right now in jeopardy for Boise State. Broncos a fast start, and then the Rams got busy with a huge run and a 15-point halftime lead. Coming up, AT&T 5G after the half, after these messages. This is a bit of a surprise in the Mountain West. Colorado State is good, we knew that, but they have a 15-point halftime lead over Boise State, a team that's won 13 straight. Rich Waltz, along with Dan Dickow. You know, Nico Medved of Colorado State told us today, we're really good at coming from behind. They're up 15 right now.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about talking to his guys about overcoming a deficit, and partly because David Roddy has been tremendous. 11 points in that first half, 5 rebounds. He is such a difficult cover because he can score in transition. He's great playing off the ball. He's aggressive on the glass. He can finish through contact. He's been great, and as equally great has been his point guard, Isaiah Stevens, maybe in contention for Player of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. Pushes it in transition, but always under control and playing with patience.
Now, there's some alarming numbers here if you're Boise State. I don't know that Colorado State's going to shoot 61% again, but the rebounding is a big number for the Rams.
Well, that was a focus for the Rams coming into today's game, and you better believe Leon Rice has addressed that at halftime with the Broncos. If they can limit the Rams on the glass and knock down shots the way they're capable of, they'll climb right back in this game and make it as interesting as we thought it would be.
Broncos go right to the bucket out of the timeout. Roddy is there to turn him away. Stevens triggers to Moore, who missed the layup. Armish trailing. And the second half starts just like the entire first half was played at breakneck speed. Shaver penetrates. Alston, that's a deep three, and he got it.
Deep three is right. Wow. About 5-6 feet behind that line.
Derek Alston Jr., 9 points, and that leads Boise State. Stevens, Moore, Thistlewood, Moores, and Roddy. Thistlewood, man, you cannot leave him open for clean looks. You just can't.
You can't turn your head. You can't overhelp. He has got as quick a release as anyone in the Mountain West Conference.
Kid who grew up a Colorado Buffalo fan, committed to Drake because that's where Nico Medved was. And when he came here, he came back to Colorado to play for him. Alston gets another bucket.
How about Drake? They are one of 5 unbeaten teams left in Division I basketball. One of them, by the way, I know pretty well. My alma mater, the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
It took you a half and a minute and a half in to give a little nod to the Bulldogs. Drake, of course, is where Medved was, and he has a history, Medved does, of taking programs and turning them around. Certainly Colorado State would qualify because he inherited a really tough situation with the exit of Larry Eustace. And he, in his first year, righted the ship. Last year won 20 games, and this year they're busting out. Roddy's open. He can shoot the three, and he misses it. Armish the rebound. Alston has 2 buckets to start this half. Good ball movement. Armish from Dennis, and he's fouled. He'll have a shot at a 3-point play.
The IQ of Dennis that we spoke of in the first half was evident there. A hard closeout by Roddy. Dennis attacks it, collapses the defense, and then finds Armush in the lane, a chance at the 3-point play.
Armush is your lunch pail, blue collar, 7.7 rebound guy. And Dennis, along with Armush, young. Dennis is a sophomore. And he misses the free throw. Was that a lane violation? It was. John Higgins spotted that, and Armush gets another free throw. But this guy they think is going to be really, really good, and they've got him for 2 more years. He had a 12-point, 14-rebound double-double at Wyoming. And he misses both free throws.
And he's starting to really assert himself and play well. Last 4 games, 10 points, over 8 rebounds per. He's a tough physical inside presence.
Stevens, a screen. Moore, Thistlewood again. And Moores may have pushed off to get that rebound. Backing in. Over Kejab with the left hand. Roddy is fouled on the putback. Well, we were talking about Drake, part of the turnaround and part of the resume that Niko Medved is building. He arrived, took over a 7-win team at Furman, averaged almost 16 wins a game. Same win total when he took over Drake, 17 wins a season, got 17 wins that one season. And now here at Colorado State, they were 11-7 in conference last year, 20-12, and they are young. Stevens and Roddy are sophomores. Thistlewood and Moore were part of his first recruiting class. Deshaun Thomas is a sophomore. James Moores is a sophomore.
I really like what he's building because he finds undervalued guys in the recruiting process. Whoa, is Alston a backdoor finish over the top. But Medved finds undervalued guys that are going to fit his system, that play in space. They can shoot it, they can pass it, they can handle it. A really nice job early in his career here at Colorado State. But I think if you look around the Mountain West Conference, there are so many good coaches. Leon Rice, Brian Dutcher, Craig Smith at Utah State has done a great job as well.
Alston lost his footing and lost the ball. Here comes Roddy streaking down the floor. Try to stop that. That is an offensive foul, and a terrific job by Abu Kejab to take the charge.
Yeah, give Kejab credit for stepping in front. I know I would have stepped out of the way. Roddy tried a Euro step. Kejab read it perfectly. Plant your feet, take it in the chest, sell it by falling back. Nice job. Too many times big, strong guys like Kejab will be there. They'll take the contact, but they won't sell it by falling to the ground. Roddy had a flop warning early by maybe in an official's eyes, overselling it. That time Kejab sold it perfectly.
And we did note that that's probably the first flop warning of Roddy's life.
Yes.
At his size, he was knocked over in that one. Shaver, long three, and Kendall Moore retrieves the rebound. This is what Colorado State does the best. Transition and a two-hand smash from Roddy.
Well, they're not a team that necessarily pushes the pace, but they will run with opportunity because they've got 2 great ball handlers. We've talked about Stevens throughout the night, but Moore is as quick a player as you're going to find in the Mountain West.
Ray J. Dennis with a soft floater, much needed for Boise State. The 15-point halftime lead was the biggest of the game for Colorado State, and it's a 10-point lead 4 minutes in. Roddy. That's a tough cover. And Armush takes the ball from him.
Well, great recognition. Got a switch. Dennis outmatched on the low block. Armush recognized what was happening, doubled down, came away with the steal.
Alston at 6'9", corner three, and it rims out. Roddy cleans it up. The rebounding advantage significant for Colorado State. They're -1 in rebounding margin this year, and Boise State is +9, but not tonight. Moores stepped through, but missed the shot. Dennis, corner. Alston, another three.
Great job by Dennis. Keeping his head up in transition, finding Alston for the three. But a couple dunks. We got some good action here in Fort Collins. Alston on the back cut, finishing over the top, but David Roddy, not to be outdone, gets out in transition, finishes over the top with the hammer himself.
All presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Boise State has cut a 15-point Ram lead down to 7 here. And a chance to take a look at our Jeep AP poll, top 10. We're going to gloss right by Gonzaga and rip down to Baylor. Villanova, Michigan is paused right now. But you go into that second group, and one significant team that I think has a bearing on the Mountain West is Houston. Remember, that's where Boise State opened their season on the road, lost by 10. Houston's been in the top 10 for a while right now, so that you would qualify that, Dan Dickau, as a good loss, and it was a tight game.
Yeah, only first game of the year, both teams trying to figure out exactly, what their ability to convert to game situations would be like. Houston came out on top, and for Boise State, Derek Alston was scoreless in that opener. Not tonight, 10 points here in the second half.
That one is off of Stevens' leg, and Boise State's going to get the basketball when we return. In the Mountain West, a rather important game. 13 straight wins for Boise State, down 15. They've rallied to get within 7. Tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, triple header. Louisiana Tech, Southern Miss started at 7 Eastern. UAB, Middle Tennessee at 9 Eastern. And then New Mexico at Fresno State, 11 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports Network. Fresno State is improving, and Dan Dickau, one reason why this guy, Orlando Robinson, is just a couple rebounds away from a double-double.
He is active, he's long, he's athletic, and he's buying into the defensive first mentality of Justin Hudson.
There's, really 3 teams that are rapidly improving in the conference, and a lot of it has to do with COVID, not getting a lot of practices or games in early. UNLV, who just beat Utah State. Wyoming, who is much better. And I think Fresno State might be one of those teams, too.
Yeah, UNLV's got a ton of talent. David Jenkins, a transfer, is eligible as Ray J. Dennis. A nice pull-up in the lane. UNLV has had some struggles closing out games, but I really like their talent on that roster.
Look at the run, a 7-0 run, and the lead is down to just 5. 16-6, Boise State has outscored Colorado State to open this second half. Thistlewood hit a couple threes already.
Extra possessions for Boise State. Colorado State has turned it over 4 times early. And when you don't shoot it at 60% like they did in the first half and you turn it over, you're going to give the opponent a chance to climb back in it.
And Dennis with a costly turnover. Stevens with the steal. Stevens is approaching a double-double, 8.7 assists. Tanjay from the corner. That's the very spot, Dan Dickau, when down 3 against San Diego State with 12 seconds left. Tanjay launched a 3, made it, was fouled, and had a 4-point play, and that was the difference in that huge comeback and upset on the road.
Stevens collapses the defense, and Alston, you've got to close out or contest under control. You cannot foul a 3-point shooter. Tanjay at the line for 3 of them.
Tanjay is a really good shooter, and Colorado State is a great shooting team. We talked about some of the drills that they do. Nico Medved really emphasizes shooting.
And I don't know why more programs, sorry, Rich, I don't know why more programs don't emphasize shooting in their practices. This year's a little different. We don't get the chance to go to practices and as many shoot-arounds, but not enough programs really spend focused, detailed time on player development and shooting.
Ooh, that's a blow-by, and that's Alston, who has dominated here in the second half. He's got 12 second-half points, and Boise State is within 6.
Just a set play. They do that really well with Alston. Runs up for the pick and roll and then ghosts it, meaning doesn't set it. and then he gets the ability with his ball handling to attack the closeout.
I thought that's when you won't answer my calls. You ghost me.
Well, he ghosts the screen there, and Roddy tries to close out. He's late. He's top side. Alston the recognition, and he is so long. He can get to the rim in 1 or 2 dribbles from easily outside that three-point line.
Roddy gets the drop. One of the things that Leon Rice told us about Alston that is maybe his favorite thing, as good as he is, as skilled as he is, he doesn't force himself on the game. He gets everybody involved, and then you look up and he's got 18 points and 6 rebounds, and he's made big plays.
And I think that's
very unselfish.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the player development. You know, you teach guys how and where their shots are going to come from, and so they have an understanding of, as the game develops, how their opportunities are going to present themselves.
Dennis airballs a 3. And a whistle. I believe the foul was before the shot. Thomas on the baseline. If it's him, it's his 3rd personal.
Well, that's one of those really awkward ones where Ray J. Dennis shot an air ball about 3 feet short.
I think the Boise State player who rebounded came from out of bounds and didn't reestablish himself. So that ball's going back to Colorado State. P.J. Bird in the backcourt right now with Stevens. Shot clock down. Stevens in trouble. Offensive foul. He backs over Dennis.
That is a tremendous defensive individual possession from Ray J. Dennis. Stevens quick, strong and crafty with the ball. Dennis slides his feet, stays in front. If you were to watch that entire possession and just focus in on Ray J. Dennis, you would have a great teaching point.
Dennis, an incredible story. Born with a club foot. B.J. Rains of the Idaho Press told that story about 2 weeks ago. It's a great one. If you're online tonight, Google Ray J. Dennis. Inspirational guy and a starting point guard on a red-hot Boise State team for sure. 50-43, Colorado State on top. Derek Alston Jr. has been terrific in this second half.
12 of his 18 coming here in the second half, and there must have been a message from Leon Rice at the halftime break to get him jump-started, because he has been everywhere. Backdoor cuts to finishes to three-pointers. He's been great.
And according to Jerry Palm, he's going to be a 9 seed if the tournament were to be played here. And 4 teams from the Mountain West, Boise State, Colorado State, and then Utah State, San Diego State, are in the Jerry Palm field of the NCAA tournament. Now, Utah State a first 4 team, San Diego State a first 4, and Boise State right now a 9 seed. There's a long way to go, and a lot of things can happen, but it points to the strength at the top of the Mountain West right now. Tonje battling Alston in the blocks.
Alston, a nice job of being patient to sell that baseline out of bounds, but Tonje equally a good job fighting it, understanding what they were trying to do. Just a little bit too physical.
This is a small lineup right now for Colorado State. Roddy's the big out there right now. Max Rice, good ball fake. Nice dish for the two-hand Alston dunk.
Well, if you're a shooter, you've got to understand teams are going to close out at you as a shooter. If you can quickly put the ball on the deck and make decisions like Max Rice there, you are going to make opportunistic plays.
Alston blocks Roddy's shot. Transition 3, Rice, and it's short. Poked back out. Alston, why not? And he missed it. I think Roddy fouled as key jab flew out of the picture on that rebound.
Shooters got to be able to make plays. They run at you, dribble attack, find your teammates. Coming up from the short corner, the dunker spot, Derek Alston getting just that, a dunk. He has come alive in the second half.
He epitomizes Leon Rice's offense. Not quite positionless, but pretty close to it. Alston is everywhere, and that time he was everywhere and got whistled for a foul. So Alston picks up the foul off the ball. It's his second personal.
But I think if you're Leon Rice, you're okay with that foul. Alston's been terrific in the second half. You want him to play with that fire and that passion, especially when he's got it going like now. I don't expect him to be on the bench for long.
Roddy Armish was bodying him. Moore's pass is tipped. And Colorado State is a little ragged right now compared to what was a really nice first half.
Well, 6 turnovers in this first 9.5 minutes in the second half, combined with not shooting it great here in the second, only with 2 of 9, has allowed Boise State to climb back in the game.
It's a great play by Roddy to catch the pass. Stevens kicks. Tanjay got it. It's a 3. He's Mr. Corner 3 for this team.
When you have as many shooters as Colorado State does, you space the floor, just a little bit of dribble penetration puts the defense in a bind. Do you help or do you stay home? You choose wrong, you're going to give up a 3.
Dutrieve, that's good. That's a 2.
We had Boise State, Wyoming a couple weeks ago. He had 21, a career high. Has had 17 in the second game and then has struggled since, learning how to play as he's becoming higher and higher priority on the other team's scouting report.
Stevens in traffic, and I think Kejab got him.
Shiftiness, creativity with the ball handling, and then the balance to quickly get into the shot from Dutrieve. Originally he started his career at Arizona.
Yeah, one of the many transfers to arrive in Boise. It was tipped. Officials will confer. I think this is going Boise's way. And Boise State gets the possession. You know, Dan, people look at Boise State and they say, Kejab is a transfer from Oregon, Armish from East Tennessee State. You got Acott from Arizona, Dutrieve from Arizona, all these blue chip guys arriving. They were not blue chip guys when they arrived. They were not impact players at those schools. And that year of development in this system has done them all a world of good. They all redshirted last year. They were all on that scout team.
Yeah, and I think if there's any high school student athletes out there that are watching this game and wanting to play at the next level, so much of it is about fit. Where do you fit best?
It's a walk and a turnover. That guy had to walk on. He did not have a scholarship. And he redshirted his freshman year. I think he played maybe 2 minutes at most.
7 total points as a freshman.
Right.
And now he is one of the top runners for Player of the Year in the conference. But Tanjay continues to find open space, his third 3 of the night.
Tanjay is filling it up, and the lead is back to 9.
Excuse me, his second 3 of the night. He was fouled on a 3 as well. Welcome back to Fort Collins, Colorado. Boise State on the road against Colorado State. The Rams up 7, having a little bit of technical difficulty. Play-by-play, Rich Waltz will hopefully be joining us again soon. I'm Dan Dickow, color analyst. It's been a tale of 2 halves. Colorado State jumped out to a big 15-point halftime lead. Boise State has done a nice job in the second of corralling dribble penetration and forcing turnovers. David Roddy, a nice face-up move off the right block. Gets Armush out of position, attacks, gets himself fouled into the free throw line. Roddy continues to have a nice night. 15 points, 9 rebounds, only 1 rebound away from his 5th double-double of the season. It's a new experience as a play-by-play announcer. Our MVP of the night, my partner on a lot of games, Rich Waltz, looks like he is back after some technical difficulties. I will say this, what you do is impressive. We are still working to get Rich back online with audio. Kendall Moore up top directing traffic for Colorado State. Quickness allows him to get into the lane, and none other than David Roddy. A putback. Now gets his 5th double-double of the season and extends the Colorado lead back to double digits in 11 points.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Great. Nice to have you back, Rich.
I hear you're doing great. Way to go. 11-point lead for Colorado State. Ray J. Dennis, difficult shot. Broadcasting games in a pandemic is never easy, Dan Dicko. Every now and then you get some technical difficulties. And every now and then you got David Roddy, and that is a technical difficulty. Big lead right now for Colorado State. 60-49. Nice to be back. In the Mountain West tonight, our game summary. Colorado State have 15-point halftime lead. Almost lost that lead. They've rebuilt it to 11. And David Roddy with a flurry of points. Big night for Derek Alston Jr. He's got 20. 14 of those coming here in the second half. Dan Dickow, what have you seen tonight? What have you liked?
Well, for Colorado State, you just mentioned the guy who has been the difference maker, and that's David Roddy. 5th double-double on the season, 19 points to go along with 10 rebounds. Boise State hasn't had an answer for his activity. Kejab has had bright moments, as has Derek Alston, but consistently throughout the night, David Roddy has been a problem.
Ray J. Dennis with that free throw. Roddy has a double-double. Isaiah Stevens is 2 points and 1 assist away from a double-double. And Alston is above and beyond anybody for Boise State with 20 points.
And yeah, Isaiah Stevens, you mentioned the nice line. Against Utah State, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He just, the more I watch him, the more I get impressed that he just plays the game at his own pace. He's got terrific IQ.
Roddy is just imposing his will right now on Boise State. Got the rebound. His shot was blocked. He is 6'5". He's 250, and he's got skills of a much smaller guy. He was a quarterback in high school, and a really good one. And if you want to kick, go search out Roddy's video as a gigantic quarterback in Minnesota. Stevens, a little ambitious on the lob. Dennis in transition. Alston, a 3, and he missed it. Smallest guy on the floor. Kendall Moore has the rebound.
After Alston picked up his 2nd foul, he sat on the bench for 4 minutes or so, and since then, Boise State went cold.
Armish with the steal, and he missed the layup.
Big fella's not used to being in a position where he's out ahead on the break with somebody chasing him down. Got to finish those plays.
Lead is 9, 6.5 minutes left. Armish from Dennis, and he's fouled.
Armish would love to get this one back. Gets in the passing lane, gets the steal, and then he hears the thundering footsteps of David Roddy. Can't come up with the finish.
They call him the Beast. And they think he's just scratching the surface. hits the free throw. Coming up after the game, we'll get you caught up on everything that's happened in college basketball from around the country, inside college basketball, right here on CBS Sports Network. Adam Zucker and the gang will have highlights of this one. Overtime before us. Lots of big games across the country tonight. This qualifies. 13-game win streak for Boise State on the line, longest in school history. And Colorado State with a chance for another quad one win against a team with a top 20 net ranking in Boise State. Stevens. Moores is back in. That's a nice move.
Well, the balance. Acott has got to do a better job on that low block and not bite on that first fake from Moores.
Under 6 minutes left. And we know Boise State can make a run. They did it against Fresno State.
Acott has got to give a little more resistance on that low block than what he did from that move by Moores.
Dave
You
Thorson.
don't want to have to double down on Moores if you don't have to.
Dave Thorson, one of the assistants, has really worked with Moores with his low post skills. You know, coming from New Zealand, he did a lot of his work facing the basket, but now with his size and his feet, a lot of low post work. Stevens, oh man. Lead is 12. Alston rises. That is short. And Colorado State has their mojo back.
And this is where Stevens' IQ begins to shine, because he understands, look, we're back in control of this game. Let's get into offense. Let's get something good. Let's break the defense down, put them in rotations.
Moores with the clock down, and he walks. That's a turnover.
A difference, though, between the two possessions where Moores previously scored on Acott, and Acott provided no resistance. Shot clock winding there, down there. Kijab, a nice job of staying down, staying in a stance, and not giving ground to Moores on that possession, resulting in the travel.
You saw all the turnovers for Colorado State. If you're asking yourself, how can they be up by 12? They're out rebounding Boise State right now by 12. Alston way off on the three. And Boise State's a really good rebounding team. They're +9 on the season. And the Rams have dominated the boards tonight.
And the Rams have not been a good rebounding team throughout the course of the year. -1 on the year per game. When you look at the roster, though, Roddy's the only guy that stands out to you as a true physical presence, someone who's going to attack the glass. So great job by multiple Rams tonight to be active in that aspect of the game.
Handoff, Roddy fouled at the rim by Armish, and free throws coming.
But again, what is it that's creating problems? It's the dribble penetration from Stevens, and in that time, it was Moore. You get to the teeth of the defense, you get the help to commit, find your open teammates. Roddy, the recipient, at the line again.
Third foul on Armish. As well as being a decorated high school quarterback at his size, he was also a state champion, as you would expect, in the shot put and the discus. Not many quarterbacks in their high school are also state champions in shot put. Right?
Big, strong guy. Versatile as an athlete, obviously, with the accolades that you mentioned there.
Kijab bounces it off his foot and turns it over. That's costly. It's a 13-point lead, under 4 minutes. Roddy running the floor, three-pointer, bangs it home. Huge shot, and Colorado State's lead balloons to 16, biggest of the night.
It's just kind of indicative of the night. Boise State hasn't been clean offensively. A turnover there, barely grazed front rim of the three-pointer. shot from Dennis. And then on the other end, Roddy making plays.
Stevens stripped of the ball. Roddy picks it up and misses the three. This is a 16-point lead for Colorado State. And a hard drive and finish by Marcus Shaver, and a timeout for the Broncos.
The duo of Isaiah Stevens and David Roddy have been terrific for Nico Medved and Colorado State tonight, beginning to pull away from the Broncos of Boise State.
And presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Well, our Old Trapper player of the game, he has imposed his will on Boise State, and that is David Roddy.
That's an easy one, quite frankly, to choose, because he has been all over the place. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 5 of those on the offensive end. A very efficient 8 of 14. He does such a nice job of mixing interior play with post-ups, activity on the glass, as well as dives, whether it's cutting off the ball or screen roll action, and then spacing at the three-point line and being opportunistic with that. A terrific game from the former quarterback from Minnesota.
I'm telling you, and that, I know you're going to do it late tonight. Get the iPad out and Google David Roddy quarterback and the video of him at 6'5", 250, and they have a he ran a wide open offense. He's throwing, you know, deep balls, deep outs, post corners, all of that stuff.
I usually follow your lead and watch video links that you describe or send to me, but not tonight, Rich. It's my son's 15th birthday. We've got cake and ice cream, and finish off with presents when we're done here in my office calling the game remotely.
And you can celebrate Dad's play-by-play debut as well. Roddy falling away. How about 25 and 13 tonight for this guy? That's amazing. And the lead's back at 16. And I don't think either of us or many people saw this one coming. Colorado State has done their best work this year when they've fallen behind. Roddy and the Rams were down 26 and had the biggest comeback in Mountain West history to beat San Diego State on the road. And last week, they were down in a tough environment at Utah State. They were down 10, no problem. They erased that lead and beat Utah State on Utah State's home floor.
Well, they don't give up. They understand that you don't win a game in the first half, and you don't win a game based off of a couple possessions. You stick with it. Tonight they've played very well. Boise State crept back in it to start the second half because of Alston's terrific play early. He picked up a second foul, went to the bench, and Boise State hasn't been the same since.
Well, you got 2 minutes and 13 seconds. If Boise State pulls this off, then this might be the most memorable comeback in Mountain West history. And Leon Rice has the firepower to do it. It's a good three-point shooting team, though tonight, not so much. 5 of 20. And remember, this is the first of a 2-game series. So these two teams are going to play within 48 hours again on this same floor.
And that's fun to watch in Mountain West play this year. The adjustments that coaches make as Stevens knocks down the pull-up. Will Boise State respond, be better on the glass? Can Colorado State not turn it over as many times, although the turnovers haven't necessarily hurt them tonight?
Kejab misses the 3. Roddy has another rebound. So Roddy's 25 and 14, and I know he's the Old Trapper player of the game, but maybe save a couple pieces of that for Isaiah Stevens. 12 points, 10 assists. He's got a double-double too. And right now, Colorado State is running clock. This is going to be their third quad 1 win. And by quad one, I'm talking about the net rankings, which somewhat parallel the selection committee's criteria. And a quad one win is if you beat somebody at home who's ranked 1 through 30, that's quad one. Neutral floor 1 through 50, that's quad one. 1 through 75 on the road, that's quad one. And they picked up a quad one win at San Diego State, 1 at Utah State, and this is another one because Boise State is a top 20 net team. And Alston sits down with 20 points. But he needed help out there tonight.
Scoreless since coming back into the game. His 14 second half points, they all came in about the first 5-6 minutes or so. He checked out of the game with his second foul, and as I mentioned, Boise State has struggled since. No one else has really been able to step up and make plays for themselves or for others.
All right, you worked all afternoon on the keys to the game. Let's see how you did.
Well, Boise State did not defend the three too poorly. They only allowed 20, but they knocked down 40%, did Colorado, and they did not take care of the paint. Colorado State, and in particular, Roddy was tremendous tonight. And then for the Rams, Colorado State dominated the glass. And then they didn't limit turnovers, but as mentioned, didn't really hurt them because Boise State wasn't able to get out and transition off those turnovers.
You know, there's a couple stories here, and the first story is Colorado State is for real, absolutely for real, what they're doing to Boise State right now. The second story is this was the first test for Boise State, and they obviously have not passed. They'll have a chance in 48 hours to get another swipe at it. I think a hidden story here is Colorado State is this good, and they're one of the youngest teams in the conference. They don't have a senior that plays. They start 3 sophomores and 2 juniors. Roddy, oh my goodness.
Somebody block him out, please. I'm sure that's going to be on highlight films. And then a turnover, a steal from Kendall Moore, and a layup, just piling it on for Colorado State.
Shaver misses. Roddy didn't get that rebound, but he's had most of them tonight. 27 and 15 unofficially is Roddy tonight. And the final 30 seconds in what is a wipeout of Boise State. Colorado State by 22. You want an exclamation point. You follow up that win at Utah State by stopping Boise State cold, ending their school record win streak, and putting up a 22-point win. Dan Dickow, this is a statement by Colorado State.
A dominant win, and they had production from obviously Roddy, who we've talked about throughout the game, and Stevens, but other guys stepped up and excelled in their roles tonight.
The streak is snapped. David Roddy, a great night, and he'll visit with us when we get back. 27 points, 15 rebounds. The standings, Boise State no longer unbeaten, and Colorado State still hot at 9-2. Huge win for Colorado State. We'll wrap it up. We'll visit with David Roddy when we return. 78-56, Colorado State, a winner.